Shalom. First and foremost, before I get started with my lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Bakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the Akim that do this work in truth and in sincerity. All right, Lord willing, this video be edifying, all right, to those who may be listening. And the topic that I want to get into is basically, controlling your emotions. All right. Controlling your emotions. All right. In Babylon the Great. All right. And the inspiration of my video, all right, is from, all right, this video that I've seen on social media that has been, circulating. I remember seeing it when it first came out, but brother's been going into, basically controlling your emotions. So I thought that, it would be good to, land back on, all right, that video. Now, in the video, all right, you had a older gentleman, all right, an older Jake, all right. They were outside of a convenience store or some type of store. And the older Jake asked, all right, Eve, all right, when she was on some nigga shit, he basically asked her if, she wanted some weed. And I'm guessing, her boyfriend or whoever the guy is, all right, he came up and basically, all right, shot the dude cold. All right, shot him dead. All right, because he asked, basically his woman a question. And, that's basically, that's basic crash out, crash, dummy crash out, behavior, man. Duck behavior, man. Being stupid and ignorant. All right. 2/3 behavior. All right. Which is why, 2/3 must die, man. All right. Because he could have went by that situation a whole different, a whole different way. All right. But now, okay, he's locked up. He's incarcerated. All right. Facing the charge of murder. All right. Because he killed the dude. All right. All because he got into his emotions. All right. And that's the majority of Jake today. All right. Most of these households are led by women. All right. And women, all right, usually, all right, more 9 times out of 10 lead, all right, with their emotions rather than logic and rational thinking. So, therefore, the men, or the young men, should I say, all right, that are supposed to be, the boys that are supposed to be raised by men, all right, grow up with that, with that spirit on them of not thinking clearly, man. All right, thinking with their emotions, moving with their emotions. All right, and not thinking about the consequences, all right, that can potentially, all right, happen if, all right, they lead with those emotions rather than handling the situation like they should have, like a man. All right. So these are the things that, men fall short of because, basically they don't have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Lord behind them. All right. So, also, the curses as well. All right. As the scriptures say, he that is tender-hearted, all right, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother. All right. And that's another thing is that, social media, this entertainment industry, all right, pushes this vibration of hate on your brother. And, that just makes Jake more quick to want to harm, all right, or do very foul play to his own brother. All right, and that's designed by the enemy. All right, Esau, Edom. All right, so basically the point is just to not to allow your emotions, all right, to cloud your judgment, man. All right, not to allow these temporary feelings, all right, to basically turn out to long-term punishments. All right, or basically getting yourself thrown into a prison, man, thrown into jail. All right, Jacob, steal, kill, all right, and end up in the prison system. And, now you locked up for years and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't harness you didn't harness your emotions. All right. Or, you'll get yourself killed over some simple, something so simple, man. All right. I mean, just a simple argument. Out here in Louisiana, you step on the Jake's shoes, he don't want to fight you. That fight can lead to you, turn out into a shootout, man. A whole shootout. And now what? You either killed somebody or, all right, you're dead. You in the spirit world. Are you seriously injured? All right, so, the thing is to, again, man, control your emotions, man. All right, let me get this scripture right quick. All right, control your emotions, Akia. So this is 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and 12. All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful unto me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. All right, and being brought underneath the power of your fucking emotions can turn out into a bad situation. Now you in a jam, now you stuck up in the prison, all right, because, all right, your pride, all right, was hurt, all right. The very woman that you was sitting over here trying to defend and do all this stuff for, you done killed another man, now you in jail. Ain't that crazy? All right, because you felt some type of way. Like this dude, Scotty Kane said, he was like, shooting at niggas don't get you stripes. You the type to brag about the shit that shit'll get you life. Now you stressing in that cell, niggas in and out your wife. You can't stress about that shit because you the one who rolled the dice. And you rolled the dice on life, and now you in jail, man. Now you got all kind of other worries to worry about. Who she's with. All right, or if she gonna stay faithful to you while you in jail. If she gonna wait for you. You know what I'm saying? Now you did all of this stuff for what? So it's crazy, man. It's just crazy work that Jake is on, man. He don't think at all, man. All right? And that's the product of America. All right? That is the perfect product of America right there, man. All right? Of creating these fatherless homes. All right? But thank God, thank Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, all right, that we now have spiritual fathers that have taught us the right way, which is to not be a crash out dummy, man, to always stay in the spirit and move in the spirit, so that way we don't be consumed by the wiles of the devil. And as the scriptures say, all right, we fight against principalities, all right, and that's these different demons, all right, that can possibly hop on these people, all right, that make them come up against you, and you have to de-escalate the situation. You have to defuse the situation because all right, that it can go south. Now it doesn't mean that, all right, you don't defend yourself if Jake happened to put his hands on you, but before it gets to that point, all right, it's best to just be the bigger man and take the L, all right, because ultimately the Lord is on our side, man, all right, and as the scriptures say, he that offend you, all right, he that offend my little one is better that he tie a millstone around his neck and be thrown into the depths of the ocean. So don't even worry about Jake, all right, acting all hasty, man, and feel like he gotta, prove a point to you, man. Just let the Lord deal with him, man. All right, vengeance is of the Lord, man. We gotta stay spiritual. Unless Jake gets physical, man, then you do whatever you gotta do to handle that situation. All right, but it's not our job to be physical, man. Just continue to stay spiritual. All right, and all should be well. All right, and as the scriptures say, a soft answer turned away wrath. So definitely, if the Lord is on your side and you're trying to de-escalate the situation, all right, the Lord is definitely going to help you out on that. All right. This is Proverbs chapter 25 and 28. He that have no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. So he that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city, all right, that has no walls, man. All right, he's defenseless, man. He's defenseless out here. Because what? He's acting like a wild beast, a wild animal. All right? He's giving you no choice but to, basically put harm to him because he's so foul. All right? He's so hasty. You don't know what his next move is. So, we are not to be that way, man. All right? That way is down the road of death, man. All right? To move like that. Again, Proverbs 25 and 28. He that have no rule over his spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls, man. He's an unruly man. Excuse me. All right, he's a man of no reasoning. All right, and those are the type of men that you don't want to be around. All right. You want to be around men of reasoning. All right, because he not only caring for his life, but all right, for those that are around him. All right. If that you with your family, and say you go out with your family and you all in the town with them and y'all go out to eat and then y'all get into an altercation. You think the best solution is to get into an altercation with somebody? All right, they try to engage with you. No. All right, it's best if you just walk away from that situation and go about your business. But some Jacob feel like their pride is touched. All right, to where the point that they gotta prove something in front of them. And now you not only put yourself in danger, but you put your family in danger. And that's not such a great and wise move, man. All right. All right. This is Proverbs 16 and 32. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. All right. And it says, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh the city. All right. So yeah, man. As the scriptures say here, man, it's just more wise to take the low. All right. It's more wise to take the low than to try to be the bigger man according to the world, which is to try to prove a point. All right, it's better just than to walk away from the situation and just let the Lord handle it. That's what I do. I just say, man, I'm gonna just let the Lord deal with you. I'll just be saying it to myself, just let the Lord deal with you, man. I ain't even gonna get into it with you. And ultimately, some way, somehow, all right, the Lord always seems to show me that, he gets them later on, man. He gets them later on. All right, so we got to remember who's on our side, ultimately. All right, we ain't got nothing to prove to this world, man. Nothing at all. This world's going to get destroyed. So what is there really to prove to these people? Because they're going to get destroyed right along with it. All right, this is Ephesians chapter 4:31. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. See, and this is how Jake is supposed to be towards one another. And naturally and spiritually, Jake is, excuse me again. All right, Jake is naturally a peaceable people. All right, but, we have been corrupt in the mind by Esau, Edom. All right. And it says, and be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as Yahweh, for Mashiach's sake, have forgiven you. So that's how we supposed to be towards each other, man. But, that's not the vibration of the spirit that the world is in, man. All right. It's, selfish and heartless. All right. Very cold world, man. All right. The love of many, all right, is definitely waxing more cold each and every day. All right. And, with incidents like this, it just makes people even more colder, man. All right. It makes people not want to show mercy towards one another because, all right, people really don't know, all right, the full intentions of each other, man. They just think that everybody's out to get them, which in reality, that's kind of, what it's pushing towards, man. But you still got some people, all right, that, got some kind hearts, but, the world is making them cold, all right? The world is making them cold. So, that's just to consider the times that we're in, all right? Each and every day that we get closer to the Lord, man. So, all right, we're always just to remind ourselves to, again, be cautious, all right, of your surroundings, cautious of people, all right, read these people's spirits and, just go about your day, man, without having to, really having to interact with these people, man, because, again, they're really unhinged, all right, and they're really emotional, all right, so, with that, Lord willing, this video has been edifying, again, stay spiritual, all right, keep a spiritual mind, and you'll always have that hedge around you, and especially in these last days, man, and, the Lord, all right, promised that he will protect us, man, all right, so, to be carnally minded, it's death, man. But the Lord has given us the rivers of living water. So, we have a greater understanding on how we should be, man. So again, Lord willing, this video was edifying, and we give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone. Salutations and blessings to the Akim that do this work in truth and sincerity. Until the next time, Lord willing, I say Shalom.